Any interaction that you have with your team member in a coaching session is bound to have some sort of a conflict. Now let's just say you had about 10 interactions in this 1 week. At least 2 of them will end up in a certain conflict. That's the nature of the game. Fear not. If you don't have any conflict, good. You're doing your job as intended, or your coaching sessions are very effective. But what if beyond that you seem to have conflicts with those 1 or 2 people on a regular basis? For some reason you're not able to figure out exactly what is the problem, either with that situation or with you or with those people. This video will tell you about how do you approach the coaching session with people, the 20% of that headcount who you always seem to end up in a conflict with. I call this the cool approach. Let's talk about the cool approach. Cool is an acronym. Here we go. The cool acronym starts with the alphabet C, which means as soon as the conflict begins and your coachee seems to literally wield their mind on you, calm down. Don't react. No matter what the coachee has to say, let them vent out. Unless, of course, they are not using profanity, which is completely unacceptable. Yes, let them vent out. See, one of the alphabets in the GROW model, which is R, which is GROWR, means reality. What if the coachee is venting out his or her reality to you? Let's also accept the fact that as a coach, you are more mature than them, But as a coachee, that maturity may not have struck them. That maturity may not have been realized by them as yet. So that's why they are losing it. They are venting out at you. And you as a coach need to do the C, which is calm down immediately. All right? That's the C of the COOL acronym. The next alphabet is O, which means open yourself to all options. Exactly. One of the options is, why don't we listen to what the coachee has to say? So you had the C, which is calm down. You've been listening. Now the coachee is venting out. So there might be some sort of a blah, blah, blah going on. I might be wrong over there, because sometimes within this long stuttering sentencing, loud sentencing, there might be some message over there. But for the most part, it's just venting. But where I am absolutely right is when you keep your options open for whatever you have to listen to the coachee. Some coachees may not be venting out, but they may be talking about their grievances. Now, there are some mature coachees that we may not know about. So this 20% might be including one of those. So keep your options open, which means listen to that venting that the coachee is doing at you. There might be some message over there. The other option in the O could be that as your coachee is venting out at you all the loud voice and the stuttering and the body language, red eyes, what if you could start asking them some questions on, okay, what's the solution to your problem? Tell me a solution. Because as they are venting it out, they might have a solution which they also might want to vent out. Okay, so your options are not only to listen effectively, but to ask 1 or 2 questions which emphasizes a resolution from the coachee. That's what it means by saying keep your options open. In the acronym COOL, now we are approaching the second O, which means be optimistic with all sorts of resolutions that come up in this session. Which means also the fact that the foundational principle of coaching is that the resolutions are provided by the coachee, not by the coach. All right. Coach's job is to listen. So you've been calm, you've listened, you've been evaluating options, you've been listening to options rather. Again, you've been very patient, and the coach behavior, the real coach behavior, demands you to listen. Now the third O is evaluating options. Let the coachee evaluate options. Now you have 3 or 4 options which may have been vented out by the coachee. At this point, there should be some sort of a calm down scenario. The coachee must have calmed down after about 10 minutes of venting. There has to be some sort of a calm down. So now start evaluating options. There's option 1, 2, and 3. Ask the coachee, what do you think is going to work? Which option do you think is going to work? Note down those options. Option 1, option 2, option 3. Which option do you think will work the most? Let's apply that, let's implement that, because it's your solution and I want you to do that. That would be evaluating options and putting forth those options to the coachee and let them be the judge of which is the best option. That's the best way of conducting a coaching session, and that's the best, one of the most effective ways of dealing with coachees, the 20% of coachees who just can't get it right, who just want to vent out their anger for the lack of someone listening to them. The final alphabet, the L. What does L stand for? Look at it from a different perspective. See, as a coach, you're also a team leader, or you're a manager, you're a people manager. Now, you're an experienced person, or that's a given. Sometimes our judgment is clogged because we are always looking at it from our own perspective. Now, as a coach, you cannot be subjective, you can only be objective. The foundations for a coach is being objective, which means that if I have a coachee sitting in front of me, no matter how illogical that person might be talking, that's his perspective, or her perspective for that matter. Okay, that's their perspective. So we can't just say, no, you're wrong, I am right because I'm the coach or I'm the team leader. No, it doesn't just work that way. Coaching sessions are not designed that way. You need to start looking at it from different perspective, which means the coachee's perspective in this case. Which means if the coachee is telling you something, let's say for example, why are you coming, if the coachee is coming late for the last 1 week, for the last 5 working days, and you meet on the next Monday and say, why are you coming late? If the coachee gives you certain reasons, this is the reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, you can't just dismiss those reasons. You have to look at it from the coachee's perspective. There are some reasons the coachee is going to give you, note them down and then act upon them. Try to find out if they are really true or not true. That's the part of the exercise. That's where a maturity of a coach will emerge. You as a coach are not mature because you are in a higher position, but because you have now the sense of leveraging options, looking at the options from the other person's perspective, and then saying, yes, that one thing is true because I found it. So that was a good thing to let the person vent out. I kept my cool. I let the person vent out. I evaluated the options, and finally I leveraged the options in the favor of our coaching session, and therefore I will get the desired results out of this coaching session. So there you have it, the cool approach to any coaching session with coachees who are giving you constant trouble of not listening to you at all. The only problem there is you probably were not listening at all. The fault is always with the coach. Of course, we can say the fault is with coachee also, but then coachees are not that mature, which is why they are being coached by you. As a coach, remember, be objective always, apply the cool approach and make sure you get the desired results out of your coaching session, and therefore you come out as a confident coach, your coaches come out confident, and the coaching session is talked about among your team members. I'll see you in my next video.